Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering price book basics. This webinar will cover a price book overview, a price book setup. We'll look at setting up your categories, your pricing defaults, warranties, job form preferences, how to add products to your price book, how to add products to an invoice so you can charge your customers, and then how to upload a price book into your system if you already have some pricing that you would like to use in WEX FSM. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you'll be able to get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. Our main topic today is the price book. So just to give you a basic overview of how this will look at the end and how you will add these to your invoices, we have three main price book options that I will show you. Currently, what you're seeing now on the screen, I am on a job. So you would go to your customer. You can search for your customer in the top right. Let's say I'm looking for Justin Hernandez. I would go to Justin's customer page, and each customer page will have all of the jobs for that customer in a timeline. Click into that, and you will be brought to a job page, which is where we are right now. And we're just going to look at an example just as an overview to begin. So right now, I'm clicking on this invoice that I've created for today. That will open the invoice, will be in the build mode. And when you're building your invoices, that is when you would access your price book. Down below, we can see I've already added some items here, but for you, you would click Add Item. And that brings up your price books. Now, today we're going to go over setting this up, getting your settings together, how to add items. So we'll get into all that very soon. I just want to give you an overview of what this looks like here. From Pricebook is your internal WEX FSM Pricebook. That is something you can manually build out. You can add items. You can get as detailed as you want, organize them into folders, and that shows up in this tab here. You also have from Flat Rate Pricebook. Now, not everyone will have this. If you have a subscription to Profit Rhino, which is a flat rate price book. You pay for the add-on subscription, and then a flat rate price book is loaded into your system, allowing you to save time. You won't have to build that out. If you use flat rate pricing, this is a great option. This will give you a huge database of different items. It comes with product names, descriptions, model numbers, and regional pricing. Profit Rhino will actually select the pricing for you, and it's based on what is being charged in your region. Then we have from QuickBooks item list. So maybe you've been using QuickBooks for many years, and the way that you price things out is with the QuickBooks item list. As long as you are syncing WEX FSM to QuickBooks, you will see a one-to-one copy of your QuickBooks item list here. And you can use these items. A pro tip for the QuickBooks item list, you can manage and update your QuickBooks item list in QuickBooks as you always have. And those updates that you make will show up in your system here as the QuickBooks item list is a two-way sync item, meaning you can edit it in both platforms and it will sync up. We'll come back to this to show kind of in context how we would actually use these different price books, how to search, and how to look through our folders. But I just wanted to provide an overview so we have a concept of where the price books are. But what we will set up first is our settings. So price book setup. There's a very particular way, an order of operations that I recommend for setting up your price book. We're going to go over setting up your categories, your pricing defaults, your warranties, and your job preferences. That's going to set the foundation of your price book in your system, and it's going to just set you up for success for when you're actually going to start adding these items. To begin, step one of setting up your price book from scratch in WEX FSM is to go to More Applications, Price Book, My Price Book Categories. This brings you to your categories page. When we say categories, I like to think of these as digital file folders that all of your price book items will be saved into. If you are brand new, you haven't set anything up, you may just have one example category here, but let's talk about how you will set this up for yourself. You have the option to set what's called a top level category. Think of that as a main folder and click add top level category. Enter in the name of the category you want here and hit add. You can see an example of this. I have a general folder that's like a main folder, a top level category. I made a folder for installs. I made one that separates by brand. I have a maintenance category. This part is up to you. So we've got some HVAC crews in here. Some of you are doing plumbing. This is going to be tailored to how you want your technicians or whoever is going to actually be accessing the price book. You want to organize this in a way that is going to be easy to navigate for everyone, which may be different business to business. But when you're setting this up, an example here, if I have an installs folder, if I'm a technician, I'm out in the field, I'm about to do an install, I create an invoice, I can just go to the installs folder, look at the equipment. All right, I'm doing a ductless mini split today. Let me click on that folder. And now everything I would need for that job would be in that folder. So your organization here is based on efficiency. How do we want to search through these categories in the moment when charging customers? This will organize all of your parts, your labor, your discounts, etc., into folders. To add a subfolder, you will click the red plus button, enter in that category, that subcategory name, and hit add. And you can see I've done an example of this. So in my general folder, I have parts, service, which would be like my labor items, bundles. You can create flat rate items very easily by pairing together your parts and your labor into one bundle, and then discounts that I offer. So these are just some examples. You can make as many subcategories as you want, an infinite amount, but just think when you're actually pricing, how many clicks do you want to do to get into the places you're searching for products within? So just be methodical in the way that you are creating these, because when you create your price book items, it's going to ask, where would you like this to be organized into? And this will be the list that will show up for your options for organizing price book items. Once you have your categories set up, the next place you'll want to go to is your pricing defaults. To get there, you will go to More Applications, Price Book, Pricing Defaults. It's the third option from the bottom here. On the pricing defaults page, this is going to be what your general default pricing will be in your system. For example, we have the standard price. When I create an item in my price book, let's say I create a part, it will automatically take on the default parts markup multiplier I have set here. Whatever your markup is, you'll want to put here. And as an example, if I have a part, I add it to my price book, and I know that that part costs me $100 with a 1.5 markup. The price I would be charging my customer is $150. This is just a baseline. I know that for certain items, it will be different. You know, you may not use the same markup for every single item you create, but this is just a general baseline. Once you actually add an item, it'll set the standard price, and then you can update that as needed when building the product. And we'll take a look at that when we're adding items. But that's the standard price. So as I'm adding parts, it will take on the standard price here. When I'm adding labor items, it will take on the standard labor defaults here. We also have maintenance plan pricing. This is a great feature. This will help you sell more maintenance plans. The way that the maintenance plan pricing works, if I have a customer who is on a maintenance plan, they're officially registered as a maintenance plan customer in the system. Any job that I do for them, it's going to automatically update from the standard price to the maintenance plan pricing. And a common practice in the industry is if I sign up, let's say I'm a customer, I sign up for your maintenance plan. I'm really excited because you let me know I'll get 10% off on future services, and the system will automatically add that discount. If this is not a feature that you want to use, you can just set this value to 0, but that could allow you to get more conversions. Like, hey, you know, we're fixing your sink today, but I noticed, you know, you're not on our Comfort Club plan, which allows us to come out twice a year. We'll service, you know, all of your equipment, your systems, whatever it is for your business. And on any other repairs that we do for you, you'll get 10% off for being a Comfort Club member. When you create an invoice for a maintenance plan customer, any items that you add from the price book will just automatically apply that discount, so you don't have to think about it. If the customer is not a maintenance plan customer, it will still show the savings, but it will say available savings. And maybe you can use that to entice your customer to sign up for the maintenance plan. You know, today it's going to be $100. If you sign up for our maintenance plan right now, you'll save 10% on today's service. That's up to you how you would like to leverage that. But just know the maintenance plan pricing will automatically apply if the customer is a maintenance plan customer in your system. You also have 3 discounts or add-ons that you can add. These are modifiers. And the way this works, you click the edit pencil here and just name this whatever you want. We've got 3 examples, but you don't have to do these. This is based on your company. You make your own decisions here. But for example, if someone is a really close friend of the family, we can give them a 15% discount. When I'm creating the job, I just click a drop down and can select friends and family. Then when I make the invoice, it will automatically apply that 15% discount. Another example would be after hours. So this would be more of an add-on service. You know, I have an emergency call after hours that I need to go work. When I create that job, I switch it from standard price to after hours. And then when I'm creating my invoice, it will automatically apply that 25% increase to account for our after hours pricing. Completely up to you what you do with these modifiers, but these are here and available for you to either update or to add a discount or add a percentage. And that is your pricing defaults. Now in yellow here with this exclamation point, this part's very, very important to know. Any changes that you make to the numbers here will only apply to new products that you add to your price book, and it will not affect anything that was currently in the system when you made the change. So an example, let's say that I spend a couple weeks, I'm really building out my price book items, everything's looking good. I've got my standard price, I've got all my modifiers, and things are working great. But I realized that I'm undercharging my parts. So I need to raise my markup multiplier. I change that. Let's say we move it up to, 1.7 just to increase the pricing a little bit. And then I hit save. It will not update for any items that are currently in the price book. If I add a new item to the price book, it will take on this new change. However, you might be saying, well, I want it to apply to everything. Like I'm going to change this. I need it to apply to all of my items in my price book. You can do that with a service request to customer support. So if you are making a change and you want that to apply to everything, go to the help center, click on the little smiley face guy, and then contact support. And you just let them know, hey, I just updated my parts markup multiplier, and I would like that to apply to my entire price book. They will submit a service request. It typically takes 1 to 2 business days for that to update, and then that's less manual work you would have to do by going in and like updating the prices manually. We'll just do it for you, but it does require that you submit a service request to support for that. That is why we recommend doing this first. You don't want to go and build your foundation of your price book and then come and update this because it won't actually update those items. So do this first. Set your categories, set your pricing defaults, and then we'll want to also set up our warranties and our job preferences. To update your warranties, we're going to go to more applications, price book, warranties. From here, you will click Add New Warranty. Enter the name, or sorry, select the type of warranty. Is it a parts warranty or a labor warranty? Enter the name of the warranty, the length in years, a description. You can choose whether or not it's an extended warranty or not, and hit Save. Once you do this, it will show up in the list here. And there's kind of two main ways that you will use this. When you're building out your price book items, let's say you add a piece of equipment into your price book that you're going to sell to your customers, you can attach a warranty to the price book item, and then you don't have to remember to add it in the moment. You add the equipment to your invoice, the warranty comes along with it. So you do need to add your warranties first here. Then these will be selectable when creating those items in the price book. And if you're on the invoice and you need to update or add the warranty from there, you can do that as well. So I could, let's say I forgot to add a warranty to an item, I can just add the warranty at the invoice level, as long as you have them set up here. So come here, add that to your to-do list, set your warranties. Last part of the setup side of this to get our foundation set for Pricebook is to look at your job preferences. To get here, you will go to Settings, Jobs, Job Preferences. On this page, this is just literally preferences, your own personal preference of how you would like your jobs to look, your job forms to look. And we're talking about price book. So we're thinking when I add items from my price book to my invoices and proposals, what information do I want my customer to see? Right now, I have everything toggled on. So currently, let's say I create an invoice and I send it to my customer, they'll be able to see the location name, the model number, the unit price, maintenance plan savings, the billing address, the product numbers, and line item amounts and quantities. Maybe I want my customer to see all of that, but maybe I don't want them to see the model number. They'll be able to look at the model number, search it online, see how much that is, what other people are charging, and you may run into an unwanted conversation with your customer. So you can hide the model number from here as a default. So for example, if I turn this off, I toggle off and hit save. When I show my invoice to the customer, it will not show them the model number. On the back end, I can still see the model number. So I can know maybe like what item I need to charge, or sorry, what item I need to order when I'm creating a purchase order, but the customer won't see that. So this is really just what is the customer facing items you want your customer to be able to either see or not see. So come into here, turn off what you don't want them to see, and hit save. And any updates that you make to this will happen immediately. So you update these here. Next time you go to make an invoice, it will then apply the settings you have here. Okay, so that is our price book setup. We have set up our categories so we know where the price book items will live in the system. We set up our pricing defaults. So when we create price book items, it comes in with our preferred default pricing. Add any warranties. So you can attach those to warranty items in the price book. And then how do I want my proposals and invoices to look? What information do I want my customers to be able to see? Now let's actually build out our price book. We want to add items to our price book so then we can add those to our invoices later. To do this, you will go to More Applications, Price Book, My Price Book. And if you notice, all of our categories that we built are right here. So I've already got my structure. I already know when I'm adding products, I'm going to understand where to put those items so they can be found by my technicians later. And to create a new item, you will click Add Product. There are 4 product types that you can choose from. Click the drop down, and we're going to go over each of these. So we've got single part only, which would be your parts and equipment. Labor or service only, those are going to be your service charges, trip charges, things like that. Multi-item group just allows you to take parts from your price book and labor from your price book and put them into a bundle. And then discount will be a dollar amount discount that you can add to your proposals and invoices. Let's look at single part only. So if I want to add a part to my price book, I'll click single part only. I can enter the product name. If you want, you can add a product number. Choose a file if you want to add an image. Select the category. Where would I want this general part 1 to be saved into? Let's say I save it into my general parts folder. When I click on this, this is showing my categories, those folders we created. So this is how you choose where this item will be saved. If you're syncing to QuickBooks, you do need to select which income account you want this to go to. Basically, the way this works, if I add this item to an invoice and that invoice is paid, that generates revenue for the company, and that revenue will sync down to QuickBooks. The system needs to know where the revenue for each item should go. So you can actually have your parts go to, let's say, a income job folder, but maybe I want my labor items to track to a labor income account. When your CPA comes in, they may not know how to use WEX FSM, but they know how to use QuickBooks, and you're going to want them to be able to pull your numbers and, look at how the business is doing. And if your parts and your labor are separated into those different income accounts, it makes it much easier for them to do their job. Or your accountant, whoever is looking at that data. The part the product name and description are visible to your customer. So you want to make sure that that is named appropriately. That's what they'll see. And then you'll want to enter a cost. So this is asking how much does it cost me to purchase this part? So let's say that for me, from my supplier, it costs me $100. My markup from the pricing defaults page is here. And so it automatically sets a price for me. I can update the cost, the markup, or the standard price, and it will make an adjustment as needed. So in the moment when you're building the item, you can get very detailed as to what this is. But if you're using the same, if you're just going to use the general pricing, it'll do the math for you here. Now, pricing strategies we talked about. We added our maintenance plan price and our three modifiers. And this is how you're going to control whether or not you want those pricing strategies to apply per item. A use case for this. For my parts, I want these turned on because I want to apply maintenance plan pricing if applicable, and I want to be able to give a discount on this part for friends and family, military, or if I'm doing after hours, I want the after hours to apply to this part. When you click save, that will then add this item to your price book, and you just go to the folder that you added it within, and you'll see it there. For the next product type, let's click Add Product. We'll go to Labor or Service Only. And with this, very similar, we're going to add our product name. Let's say this is our general labor. You can add, say where I want this to save. I know that all of my labor items I'm putting in my service folder. I know that this is going to go to my, labor income account. And then you can update the cost. So this is like, how much will it cost me per hour to do this labor? And then your markup is applied, and this is the hourly labor price I would charge my customer. But for labor, I'm not trying to discount my labor. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off all the discount options. That way, there's no confusion. My technician won't even be able to add a discount to this item. And since it's turned on for the part and off for the labor, when I add the part and the labor together on an invoice, the system will know and it will add the discount for the part, but not add the discount for the labor. And you don't have to think about that. It will just automatically do it in the moment as long as you have your settings set up per item correctly. Once you have all the information here, click Save to add that to your price book. Next, we'll go and add product. And let's look at bundles. So bundles is unique. This is maybe not everyone is going to use bundles, but this allows you to select parts and select labor and create a bundle. However, it's important to know you do have to have individual items first before you can build a bundle. Think of the bundle as a basket, and I would need to take my apples individually and put those in the basket. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We would select different parts. You can search for parts. Let's say I want to add a general part. You can select as many items from here as you want. Maybe I'm building out an install package that's going to have multiple pieces of equipment and labor included. If there is a part that is not, or if there's an item that's not in your price book, but you do want it to be part of the bundle, you have to create that item first. So for parts, I could just click Add New Part, enter in the information, which will add the individual part to your price book, and then allow you to continue forward with that part to build the bundle. So we have our parts selected. Let's select some labor by clicking on the labor service dropdown, and we'll just add let's add the 2026 labor from here. So I have my parts, I have my labor, and now I will create product bundle. Bundles are great because it's going to show the customer one item. They'll see the bundle, they'll see the product name, they'll see the description, which maybe puts all the different phases of the job or all of the things that you're doing, what you're offering them for the bundle. And for you, you'll be able to see all the different components, the pricing, the income accounts, and the details of the individual items. Your customer will only see the bundle name and the description and the total price. So this is nice, if you're doing an install, let's say, the customer doesn't need to know every single component. They just need to know, I installed your furnace and here's how much it costs. And so on the front end, which we'll see on our invoices, it's showing the single price, the single product. On the back end, we see that it's a bundle. Once you have all the information filled out, click Save, and that will add a bundle to your price book. And I made a bundles folder, and all of my bundles are in here. You can organize that however you want. The last product type is a discount. So we're going to add a product and go to discount. And this is very simple. I like to think of this as a coupon. This is going to be dollar amount discounts, not percentage. And let's say we just need to make a $25 discount. Put a minus sign, that way the system knows to subtract. And this could be, $25 coupon. And then click save. You enter all the information, put it the category, account, etc., and click save. That will then add a discount that you can use. And you can see in my discounts folder, I have a $10 discount, 25 first-time customer discount, $50 discount. You just add dollar amount discounts there. Okay, so add items into your price book, put them into the categories that you've selected, and now you have a price book and you can use that in context when charging your customers. And let's see an example of that now. Let's see the price book in action. To do this, we're going to go back to our job, and we're going to go down and let's create a new invoice so we can see this from scratch. So I will click new to create a new invoice. And when you're building an invoice, we're in build mode here. And this process, what we're doing here is very similar in the mobile app. It just looks different because it's on the mobile app, but essentially create an invoice or proposal, click add item to access your price book. And all of the groundwork, the foundation that we did to get our price book set up correctly will come in handy here. I'm in the moment. I have just helped my customer. Let's say I'm a technician. I helped my customer, Justin. I finished the work. Now it's time to charge the customer. I create the invoice. I click add item. And now I'm pulling items from my price book. Some best practices here. If you know exactly what you're looking for, you just type in the word. So maybe I need a coil. Anything with that key term will then show up per bucket or per price book here. And if you have multiple price books, you can just quickly tab through and search the different price books for the items that you need. And let's say I need to add just a general part. If I know that that's what I'm looking for, type it in, and there it is. Let's select that first one. If you know this is an item that you use all the time, you can click the heart to add it to your favorites. Oh, you know what? Not here. I take that back. This will show you whether or not it's a favorite. You will either favorite it when you're building it by clicking the heart. You can also favorite it from the Actually, I think the main place that you will do that from is when you're creating the item or when you're looking at it in the price book, which we can look at a little later. If you want to search through your favorites, you can click favorites and any items you've favorited will show up here. And it just makes it easy to see the items that you use all the time. You can also search through your folders. So maybe you're not exactly sure what you're looking for, or you know where it is in your folder organization. Click on Price Book Folders. And here we go, nice and neat. I've got this set up. And if you set up your folders in the way you run your business, this will make a lot of sense. I'm doing an install. Let me go to my installs folder. I'm doing a furnace install. Let me go to my furnace install folder. And here is the install that I'm doing today. And I add that item as well. You can bounce around to different places in the price book, and it does allow multi-item select. So I selected my general part, it added the item here, almost like a queue. I added another item that adds as item number 2. As you go through and add items, they will be added in the order you selected them when they're added to the job form. Uh, and then you can search flat rate folders as well if you have the Profit Rhino subscription. So it's kind of two main ways that you would be adding items would be from searching or going to the folders, finding what you need and adding from there. Let's add some labor. So I'm just going to go to my service folder and let's add some general labor. Let's say I also want to add a filter. Oh, uncheck favorites when you're looking around if you're not specifically looking for favorites. And let's add this filter here. Now we will add these items. I've got my part, I got my labor, I got my filter. You can see discounts have now been applied. Since Justin is a maintenance plan customer, we see there's some savings here. And the savings have applied to the part. They have not applied to the labor because when we set it up, we turn that off. And then it has applied to the filter as well. If you want to edit these items, you can click on the item name. And then from here, update the name, the description, the quantity, etc. And then hit update. Any updates or changes you make to the items here will not update the defaults. So you can get as customized as you want per job. It's not going to affect your default pricing. You can also, an example here for labor, maybe you worked 3 hours. We could just change the quantity to 3, and now that's going to represent 3 hours of labor. You can quickly toggle taxes on and off here as well. Maybe you have taxes on by default, but you want to turn those off very quickly and easily by clicking the T. Okay, we have all of our items here. We're going to scroll down. And now you can continue forward with the job. If this was a proposal, we would convert to an invoice and take payment. Since this is an invoice, we've got some payment options at the bottom here. Pay now will process through WEX FSM and send the money to your bank account. Record payment is if you're going to process outside of WEX FSM. An example of this would be someone pays with cash. You still need to take that cash to the bank, but you want to record that that payment was submitted. So, and you can also send this to the customer. When you send it to them, let's just click send really quick here. You'll choose who you want to send it to. And if you click View PDF, it will actually show you what your customer will see. So right now we're on the desktop version of WEX FSM. What we are looking at here is kind of the build mode. But if you send it to your customer, they will see a nice professional invoice with all the items we have, with the preferences. So like right now I have unit price, quantity, savings all turned on, viewable for the customer. From that job preferences page, if we turned off unit prices and quantity, this would just be empty here. So that's up to you. And this is just an example of what this looks like for your customer. When you send this to your customer, they'll be able to review it, make a payment online, and that acts the same as Pay Now in that it will send the money to your bank account. For today's example, let's just take a quick payment. We'll click Record Payment and bypass that. We didn't grab a signature from the customer. That's okay in this scenario. And then here's how much they're going to pay. Let's say that they paid with a check. Just going to enter the check number, the date it was received, and record payment. And there we go. So we set up our price book, we added items, we made an invoice, we added our items from our price book to the invoice so we can charge the customer, showed it to the customer, took payment. The last thing I want to show you guys before we get into our Q&A, which will be very shortly here, so get your questions ready, is everything we've talked about today is does require some work. You will need to go in and build your price book out. Manually add your items, update. For some of my customers, they love the control. You are able to each item, create them, put the name, put the description, and get very detailed. And then when you do that groundwork and you get everything set up, it's very nice, but it does take time. You may already have pricing. So let's say you have an Excel file that already has names and model numbers and descriptions and the pricing you actually charge, and that's what you've been using. You can submit that to our data team and we can actually load your price book for you, saving you a ton of time from manual entry. To do this, you can go to More Applications, Data Center. When you click on that, you will be prompted, welcome to the data center. What would you like to do today? And in this scenario, we would like to submit a new price book upload. And it's self-explanatory. You just read and run through what this is, but some best practices here. If you already have your own file, it needs to be an Excel file. It can't be a PDF. It can't be a Word document. It has to be Excel. That's what our data team will be able to use to load. But if you have an Excel file, you got all that info, you just put that here. I have my own file to upload. Upload that, sends it to the data team, and they will load that into your system. And then when you go to your price book, oops, after the load, you'll see those items in here. Oh, if you're not sure, maybe you don't have a template, you can have a template populated for you. And then you would just fill that out. Maybe you copy and paste from a Word document and then submit that as well. So it can be a time saver, but you would have to have that information first to be able to send to us. If you don't have that, might as well just add it and build it from scratch in your WEX FSM system. All right. That is all the information we have for today's presentation. I hope you guys learned something. We're going to open it up for questions now, but I just want to say thanks so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Price Book Basics.